What's up my friends, it's Mike again, glad to have you guys back. So in my hand, we have the Bose Noise Cancelling 700 headphones, and I've been using them for a month and a half. And I gotta say, there's a lot to be said about these headphones. Especially when you compare it to the best in active noise cancelling and sound, the best in comfort, and the best in calls and hear-through. So today we're gonna go over all these areas to see which one is in fact the right pair for you. So first of all, we're gonna talk about the sound quality. So for myself, I use these a lot for work. I use them for like 4 hours a day doing video editing, research, scripting, and just sitting there with my fan blowing at me at full force because it's hot in the summer. And after all this time of using it, I did find the overall sound of these to be very bold, crisp, clear, and balanced. It's everything you would expect from the signature Bose sound, which I've been using for the past 2 years. And what I love about this is that the mids and the highs are really clear and crisp and clean. That means that when you're playing percussion music, you can really feel the snappiness of it, and it makes you wanna get in the groove. And there's a lot of details as well. So you can hear like the smallest things from the songs that you're playing. You can hear what's coming from the left, what's coming from the right very clearly. And because of that level of clarity, you can really hear the separation from the vocals, from the instrumentals as well. However, as for the bass, that's where the QC35s kind of failed. It's still punchy, but you have to get it to higher volumes to really feel the bass. And that's why a lot of people say these are very neutral. It's flat, there's no highs, no lows, it must be Bose. But however, in this version, I do think that they improved in the bass department. I do think that the bass depth is a bit deeper, so I don't have to increase my volume that much to really get a tight, punchy, impactful bass. And the other thing is that I think it's a bit more clear as well. So overall, I do think this is a more refined version of the Bose sound, and I like it more. However, if you do want more bass, that's where these two come in. With the Jabras, the bass is impressive, however, the overall sound is just a bit above average because it lacks in the details in the mids and the highs. So if you do want a powerful bass with the details, the real comparison is between the Sony 1000 XM3s. Now with the Sonys, the bass is like sizzling. And what I mean is that it's like really thunderous, it actually rumbles in your ear, and this gives off a more 3D kind of immersive feel to the user. The mids and the highs are really clear as well. The bass doesn't like overpower it that much. Also with the Sonys, there's an in-app equalizer that you can set it to whatever you like. So the sound is more dynamic and versatile because of that. Whereas the Bose, you're kind of stuck with what you get, and you have to like it because you paid 400 bucks for it. But anyways, in terms of sound quality, I think they're both good, and it really depends on what you use them for. I think the Sonys are really good for gaming, movies, and bass-heavy music. Whereas with the Bose, I think it's really good for work, video editing, and music as well. Because for myself, I actually prefer the more clean and detailed, balanced kind of sound, especially for video editing. I need a more neutral sound so it represents what I'm hearing, so that you guys can hear what I hear. So what I'm trying to say is that it's kind of like ice cream. You got vanilla ice cream, you got chocolate ice cream, they're both good. It's really a preference, and if you know you like the balanced sound, the Bose is not gonna disappoint you at all. So I hope that makes sense. I do think all the deciding factors are in the other features as well. So with the Bose, it has hear-through now, and you can activate that by toggling through your 3 favorite settings. That's customizable with the button on the left ear cup. You can set the noise cancelling levels from 0 to 10, 0 being like full hear through, and in this mode you can play your music as well as hear what's outside. And the other way to do it is actually to just press and hold that button, and it will actually stop your music so that you're fully aware of your surroundings. And to cancel it, you can press any button and it will return to whatever level that you were at before. So this is actually really similar to Sony's hear through as well. You can temporarily enable this feature by holding onto the right ear cup here and letting go to disengage it. With the Sony and the Bose, the ambient sound that's being replicated back into your ears are very natural, but it just feels like you're kind of wearing earmuffs. There's something muffled. I do think Jabra is the best, it's the clearest, but overall, all 3 of these work very well, and I'm gonna have to say it's a tie. But what's not a tie here is the active noise cancelling. So with the Jabras and the Bose, they're very good at cancelling out the low frequency constant humming noises, but with higher frequencies, like if you're at a food court, coffee shop, or in the kitchen where there's like spontaneous high frequency sounds, you do have to to increase your volume like to 80 to 90% to almost get rid of those. And the exciting thing here is that with the Bose 700s, I think it's as good as the Sonys. So in the summer, I did compare them side by side for hours on end. There is really just like a marginal difference. You can't really tell unless you're like really testing it. With the Sonys, I did find that it was slightly better because I can play my music at 50 to 60% and it will actually block off most of those high frequency sounds. Whereas with the Bose, I had to increase it to 70%. So really, I think the Bose 700s have finally caught up to the Sony 1000 XM3s because it's certainly better than the QC35s. Like when I was comparing these two, it wasn't a fair fight at all. They really should have released the Bose 700s to compete with the 1000 XM3s instead of the QC35-2s with the extra gimmicky virtual assistant button that I never use. And this brings me into the next part, the build quality of the Bose 700s. They really redesigned everything here. It's actually a separate line from the Quiet Comfort series, so it's completely different from the QC35-2s. They really got rid of all the hinges and plastic parts to make this more uniform and simple looking. And what I like about it is that it's made with a steel headband that's very durable, which I'll talk about more later, but the thing is that it's padded with the silicone rubber on top now. And I do think that's to improve the durability because with the QC35-2s, you know this protein leather? It actually peels over time if it's like seeped in with moisture. And that's something I really complained about a year ago because when you buy something that's this expensive, it should not do that. So thanks Bose for listening to your customer complaints. But anyways, in the old version, they have this plush cushion and now they replaced it with the silicone material as well, and this is really good because if you have a lot of hair gel like me, it's very easy to clean. Now, as for the ear cups, they're actually made of this like plastic material. I thought it was like metal for the longest time, but it's not cold to the touch. However, it doesn't feel cheap at all. The design is very simple, looks good, and it's very adjustable. You can move the ear cups up and down, left and right with no problem. But the thing here is that you have to note that it cannot fold like this. So this is actually quite a big deal for me because it is that much bigger. And when I travel, I just throw these in my bag because of my limited space without the case. But now I think you will have to use the case or else you risk scratching this beautiful aesthetic design. But anyways, with the ear pads, they are very soft as well. They are comparable to the QC35-2, so that's very good. And yes, they are removable, so that kind of prolongs the life of your expensive headphones. Now, this can be charged via USB-C cable, which is a nice upgrade, but with its competition, these can do like 36 hours and 30 hours. So the battery life isn't too impressive there, but I'm not too worried about it because I always have my USB-C cable with me anyways, and in my use, this actually lasted me like almost a week. So I really don't think having 10 extra hours is actually that much more important because in real life use, 20 hours is more than enough. And if you do run out of battery, the good news is that you can listen to it while it's connected to the cable, but you can't charge it and listen at the same time. And the last thing to note here is that none of these are water resistant. So if it rains, you gotta hide them. The only one that's kind of water resistant is the Jabras, but at the same time, I wouldn't drench these as well. So overall, you're getting premium build quality and it's very modern and you're really paying a premium to get that look. Which in fact, I do think it looks pretty good on me because I like how the headband is flush with the ear cups. It's not sticking out like the Sonys. And really, I think it's a personal preference kind of thing. And when you put it on your neck, it looks good as well. Very stylish, modern. But I think what's more important is the comfort. So how does this compare to the best, which is the QC35-2s? I do have to say that when I first got this, the clenching force of this was painful. I had to like stretch this out for like a few days like this and really stretch it out, break it in before it was usable. So that's something to take note of. A lot of people are complaining about that. So after all this time, it is a bit better, but you can still feel a stronger clench in the jawline over here than the QC35-2s. And I think that's because these headphones are actually heavier. So it does need that strength to hold it on your head. So the other thing that I noticed is that with the ear pads, they are very comfortable, but they are a bit warmer than the QC35-2s. It's really not that big of a deal. I don't sweat like I do with the Sonys or the Jabras, which I hate wearing in the summer. But overall, I do think that the QC35s are still the most comfortable because I can wear this for like 6 to 8 hours, and sometimes I do forget I'm wearing these on my head. So that's how good these are. So the Bose 700s would come in second. However, with the user experience, the Bose 700s do pretty well. So in this version, they did upgrade to Bluetooth 5.0 with the simultaneous connections, It can remember up to 8 devices and connect to 2 at the same time. So this is really useful if you're using multiple devices like your laptop and phone. If you're watching movies or listening to music on your laptop and you get a call, it's actually smart enough to stop streaming on your laptop and let your phone ring so that you can pick up and use it right away without switching any connections. So that's something I really loved about the QC35s and the Jabras as well. With the Sonys, you do have to like hold the power button for 6 seconds to unpair and then repair it on another device, and it's not that fun. So the other thing is that the connection quality is really strong as well. I haven't had dropouts or lag when I'm watching videos or playing games. This is really reliable. Now, as for the controls of the headphones, I really like it as well because it's a hybrid of tactile buttons and touch controls. And usually I hate touch controls, but in this case, it works very well. Because with the volume, when you swipe it up, the increment is very granular, so you get really precise control. And for playback controls, it's very accurate as well. So when I skip forward or skip backwards or double tap to pause and play, I can safely say that I've never made errors with this. Whereas with the Sonys, I think the surface area is larger, so when you swipe up, sometimes it registers as like skip a song, and that's kind of annoying. And also, when you swipe up for volume, it does it like one at a time. And when you swipe up and hold it, it increases your volume like beep, 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 beep. And it's very hard to control like that. And the other thing is that with the tactile buttons, they're very easy to use as well. And the key here is speed. Because with the power button, you just press it once and it turns on, and it's like instant. There's no press and hold. The same goes for the ANC button. You can toggle through different modes without waiting. It's very fast. And also, the virtual assistant button also works as a mute button in calls. So this is very useful when you're in conference calls and doing all that stuff. The only other pair of headphones that has that mute button is the Jabras. So overall, I do think it's very simple, reliable, and easy to use. And the thing here is that if you like using it, you'll use it more, and if you use it every day, it's worth the money that you're paying for. And congratulations, you made it this far. So here's a call quality test for you business folks between all these headphones. Hey friends, so now we're trying to emulate a coffee shop sound background environment with my speaker back there. So in this test, you do want to notice how well the mics isolate my voice from the background sounds. And right now, we're going to switch over to the Sonys. This is the Sony 1000XM3s. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Sony 1000XM3s. And of course, I have my fan here for wind noise tests. This is the Sony 1000XM3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Sony 1000XM3. So now onto the Bose. This is the Bose QC35-2s. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Bose QC35-2s. And as for the wind noise, this is the Bose QC35-2s. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Bose QC35-2s. And now, onto the Jabras. This is the Jabra 85H. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Jabra 85H. This is the Jabra 85H. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Jabra 85H. Okay, and finally, we have the Bose 700s. This is the Bose Noise Cancelling 700. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Bose Noise Cancelling 700. So I do want you to notice something. When I'm not talking, it actually cancels out all the background sound. And when I do start talking, it picks up my voice again, and this is quite impressive. And lastly, wind noise. This is the Bose Noise Cancelling 700. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Bose Noise Cancelling 700. And that's it, guys. So what do you guys think? In my experience, the Sony always sounded like I was underwater. The Bose QC35 was okay. The Jabras are the best that I've tested so far. But how does the Bose Noise Cancelling 700 compare to that? Comment below and let me know what you guys think. So at the end of all of this, which one of these bad boys is the best and which one should you get? So before, I would always recommend the Sonys because for $350, you're getting superior active noise cancelling and sound quality. But with the QC35s, you get great user experience, but the noise cancelling is just okay. And at $350, I'm like, what? That's it? So it definitely felt like a ripoff, and you're definitely getting a lot more value out of the Sonys. But with the Bose 700s, It finally has a complete package that excels in active noise cancelling, comfort, sound quality, calls, and user experience. So between these two, for $50 more with the Bose 700, you're mainly getting better call quality and user experience with super easy to use connections and touch controls. So with that being said, if you do a lot of business, you're always on calls and all that important stuff, or if you don't have any active noise cancelling headphones right now and you have the money to spare to get your first pair, then at this point I would definitely get the Bose noise cancelling 700s. Although it's expensive and you're definitely paying a premium, I do think it's the best overall right now. But anyways, if you already have the 1000 XM3s and the QC35s, I don't think it's worth upgrading. These are like really good already. And I mean, these are all really expensive headphones and you did pay a premium for these and they're supposed to last a long time. So anyways, it's really hard to catch up with the latest and greatest. So that's why you should like and subscribe and turn that bell on to get the latest updates from YouTube about my channel so that I can do that for you. And I really hope I helped you guys out today. Please comment below and ask me any questions. I'd love to help you guys out. And that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! And by the way, I'm not sure why you would need wind noise test unless you're walking outside a lot. I don't think this would apply for most people during conference calls and stuff. But you know what? It's all for you. So I think what Bose is trying to say here with their stubborn sound quality and no equalizer is, I want to be like me, I don't want to be like you, Sony. And Sony's like, I'm gonna be the best. Well, I'm gonna offer people clarity. Very expensive clarity. Guys, you should just make up.